So DJI have recently released a new firmware update, version 0201. I've had no issues with this, but I know a few of you have, and also relating to the new app, which is 1.6.8. I'm going to talk to you about this today, about the way I go about installing this and two hopeful fixes if you have been having issues with this. I'm going to be talking about this on the DJI Mini 3 Pro, the RC version, and also testing it on the DJI Air 2S with the standard phone and controller. So first of all, I want to talk to you about cache and why you need to delete any cache on my workflow. So what we need to do is, once you're on the screen, so this is on the Mini 3, we're going to click back off this screen onto the home screen here. Once we're here, we're going to click on Profile, and then under Profile, you're going to see Settings. Click on Settings, and then on here, you want to click on Storage. When you click on Storage, this will then show you your cache. Now, the cache can be made up of several different things: photo and video cache, but also cache relating to firmwares, logs, album data, record cache, lots of different things. And with all these recent firmware updates and flight updates, all of this cache can get problematic and it can cause issues when you install then a new firmware update. So what I do is, before I update any firmware update, I normally delete my cache either before or after it. So try this first of all. If you've been having issues with the app, go and delete any cache on your controller. Now, on drones that connect to the phone versions of the DJI Fly app, this is exactly the same. We'll click on Profile, and then we're going to click on Settings again in the bottom here. Once we click on Settings, you will then see Clear Cache. I have a donkey load of cache there, nearly 10 gig of cache. So this could cause corruptions, this could cause issues. You know, all of this cache memory isn't just album data, there's loads of it different made up. So you want to go through here and you can delete the cache. So rather than going through each one, I'm going to start off by clearing any album data. This is going to clear 8 gig. It's also good if you're actually losing storage on your phone. So delete that, and I'm also going to delete the web page cache as well. So if you have been having any issues since updating the firmware, like maybe a white screen or lag when you're flying, this can be to do with the actual cache issue. So go and delete your cache if you haven't done already, and get into that habit of either deleting your cache before doing a firmware update, or once you've done a firmware update, go and clear all the cache so it's just a fresh install ready to go. If that doesn't solve anything and you're on the phone version of it, then you can just completely delete your cache and then delete the app off your phone and then reinstall it. And that should then clear any bugs because you've got a complete fresh reinstall of the app. Let's move on to the next issue which people have been mentioning, which is to do with the maps. Now, the maps work differently on the RC and the RC Pro compared to any other flying experience you've had with the DJI drones. And recently, from about 2 firmwares ago, we've had this message. Now, when you turn the propellers on, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is automatically disabled. And this is to do with people mentioning that they weren't happy with the signal performance. So to combat any of that, it's now been disabled by default. So you'll see now, when I've not got any Wi-Fi turned on, as I scroll out of my maps, the whole map is just blank, aside from any no-fly zone information or the location that I'm actually in currently right now. It's all blank. So this doesn't look very good, but this is because you're not actually connected to any data, anything by default. If we look here now, when I click on that, Wi-Fi is off and Bluetooth is off. So to enable for you to get any map data at all, one way or another, you need to connect to the Wi-Fi to load the map data onto your controller. So currently you can't preload this, which will be great. Currently we can't install like a SIM card, which will also be great. So what we need to do is we need to go and connect to our Wi-Fi. So I've got a Save Network here as my phone. So I'm just going to click on that and connect to my phone. Once it's connected to my phone's data, to that hotspot, if I now go back onto it, you'll see that it's now connected to my phone on the pull down menu. If I then go back onto the same maps, I have now got the full map of the UK or anywhere else in the world I want to fly. And now I can do several things once I've got this map data loaded. One of those things you can now do is if I want to change location, so if I want to go and walk over there, I don't want my home point to be still in that car car park, I want to change it. So if I walk over there now and go onto the update home point, I can move the home point and drag it anywhere else I want it to be. Or I can just simply select the current remote control location. This is great if you're going to be moving about, such as if you're on a bike. So now I've got the map data loaded, I can turn Wi-Fi off. So if we just pull down in the top right hand corner, I'll select Wi-Fi and that now turns Wi-Fi off. So Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is now completely off. But if you look now back onto the maps, you'll notice that even though Wi-Fi isn't turned on at all, I can click back onto the maps and I still have access to the full map. Even when I zoom out, everything is there. So I can drag the home point, I can change it, I can do whatever I want because I've just had my controller connected to my phone's hotspot for a short period of time. This is the way it works, unfortunately, on the RC and the RC Pro because they don't have a dedicated data source like what you may be used to on your phones. So it's a really great practice for getting into. So say I now set off and I'm going to go on my bike and I want the drone to film me in, say, some kind of active track, and I'm going to go all the way down this promenade. I don't have to connect to Wi-Fi or anything. I can just select a home point to be in the distance because that's where I'm traveling to. I don't want the drone, if it disconnects, to go back 2 miles backwards. I want it to go forward where I'm heading to, and I can update my home point. So it's fantastic to have this map data. If you don't have this data, the drone will just remember its location it took off from. So they won't be very good if you're moving about. If you're not moving about, then that's fine. So my current workflow is to get into a good habit is when I turn the drone first on, I connect it to my phone's hotspots, and then whilst I'm waiting for some satellites and I'm sorting out my pro settings, getting the ISO and the shutter speed and the white balance, everything's correct. Whilst I'm doing all that, the maps are loading in the background already, and then when I turn my propellers on and it disconnects that Wi-Fi, I've already got full maps loaded. What about on the normal controller and the phone? Well, let's just switch over to the Air 2S. And because you're using your phone with probably a data plan already, you've already got your maps already preloaded, so there's nothing to worry about. So I hope that answers two of the main issues I've had from people feeding back to me about issues with the maps not being there or with any performance issues regarding to the app. And over this last few years, this has happened quite a few times, and it's always been relating to firmware or fly updates. And because we've had quite a lot in the last few weeks, it's probably going to be down to that. So go and clear your cache as a number one. Also, Master Shots, someone said their Master Shots wasn't working. I have tested it in a few locations. Master Shots for me personally seems to be working absolutely fine. So if it doesn't and you're having any problems with the Master Shots, photos, videos, something has gone wrong. So maybe try and do a reinstall, delete all your cache, and if none of that works whatsoever, then maybe contact DJI support for some further advice. But everything relating to the Mini 3 Pro and the signal, for me, my testing and a few others I've spoke to, it's been a lot better than it was before. So I hope this definitely helps you so you can get the best out of your drone. What about onto the Air 2S with the DJI 1.6.8? If you use a phone or if you've got the Mini 3 Pro and you're not using the RC controller, I want you to do a quick test of that as well. So I did exactly the same. I made sure all my cache was deleted before I got it in the air. And then once it was in the air, I had no issues with any of the features. The map's working absolutely fine through my phone's data. Everything was working okay relating to Master Shots. We're getting to tracking, photos, the panorama photos. So I really do hope this helps you out, guys. And let me know if you're having any more further problems. If there's like several people having the same issue, then I can maybe try and help you out with feeling about that myself. But I hope this helps. If it did, if you could hit that like button, it really helps with the algorithm, helps this channel out a lot. And if you're new around here, please consider subscribing. See you soon, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.